So for our 1,000 episode special here on Secular Talk, I'm going to go through some more questions from you guys that you submitted on Facebook. Jamie Marshall asks, who is a public figure, political or not, that you used to admire but have lost a lot of respect for? I'm going to leave that one alone, but I could say some stuff. Ramon Colon asks, if Bernie Sanders becomes the nominee and eventually president, do establishment Dems and Republicans work together to serve the donors to obstruct more than during Obama's presidency? That's a great question. Yes, of course they would. But that's one of the things that's so great about Bernie Sanders is he's FDR 2.0. And for any of you who know about political history in depth, you could call him FDR 2.0 or LBJ 2.0. And what do those Democrats know how to do? Fight. They know how to play politics. They know how to twist the right arms at the right times, and I have full faith and confidence in Bernie Sanders that he would know how to do that. So let me just give you one example here because it really shows you the difference between weak center-right corporatist Democrats like Obama versus somebody who's a true liberal and progressive like Bernie Sanders. On the Obamacare debate, did you know that at the time the Democrats had a supermajority? So they could have gotten anything they wanted. Now, it is true that some of those Democrats were what's called blue dog Democrats, which are Democrats from very Republican-leaning states, so they have to be like right-wing Democrats in order to get reelected. So they have to oppose Obama on all these different things. But the Democrats had a supermajority at the time when they passed Obamacare. Here's what Obama would have done if he really wanted to get single-payer, or if you really want to get a public option. You call the blue dogs into your office and you say this, hey, I'm going to make this very simple. At the time, he's wildly popular, too. Remember that. Obama was. If you don't vote for single payer, myself, the DNC, we will take all the resources, all the money we have. We will primary your punk ass. I will come and campaign for that person every single day, and you will lose your political career. So your options are very simple. Vote for single payer or lose your political career. Your choice. Get the fuck out of my office. That's how you play politics. That's what LBJ would have done. That's what FDR would have done. Obama didn't do that at all. In fact, he caved multiple times to the Republicans, went from single payer to public option to individual mandate, their old plan, the old Republican plan, got that through and then wanted a pat on the back. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a step in the right direction because any reform was a step in the right direction, but you could have got single payer if you just fought for it. Bernie Sanders would have fought for it. He knows how to twist arms behind the scenes. He knows how to play politics. He knows how to double down. He knows how to be aggressive. He knows how to frame things. Obama doesn't. Hillary Clinton, I'm not sure, wants these progressive things. She wants to be where Obama is on the spectrum or a little to the right of that. So that's the difference. So even if they were to try to fight against him, you can fight back. You have the bully pulpit. You have the loudest fucking voice in the country. The idea that it's like, oh, poor president, like, oh, what a victim. No, you have the fucking bully pulpit. Throw your goddamn weight around. That's what's great about Bernie Sanders. They would unite against him, and he would, in turn, crush them. Next question. Adam D'Angelo says, are we ever going to let Congress legislate anymore? Or are we at a time where we just legislate everything through the Supreme Court? Okay, so first of all, Congress doesn't do dick because it's GOP-led. They're massively obstructionist. They're not a legitimate political party anymore. And they literally broke the filibuster record under Obama. So that's why Congress doesn't do anything. It's because it's mostly Republican idiots who, that's their goal, is to not do anything. So you can place blame squarely on them for that, okay? Now, again, when the Democrats had a supermajority, they should have done more, and they should have thrown their weight around more and been more aggressive. But now that the Republicans have the numbers, they have the numbers, so it's a much harder thing to do to fight back against it, and many of them are like Louis Gohmert and literally crazy. Okay, but on the issue of SCOTUS, I'm actually not in league with a lot of other liberals on this. So Tom Hartman, for example, he's done segments, and I love Tom Hartman, by the way, really great guy, progressive host, a godfather of liberal talk radio, one of the main reasons I'm doing what I'm doing now. But his position on the Supreme Court is almost like they shouldn't have the option of judicial review, which is to check the constitutionality of the actions of other branches of government. I disagree with that. I think they should have judicial review, and they should be able to say, hey, this action from the president is unconstitutional. It's just obviously you want the right people on the court. I mean, in modern times, it's been a right-wing court. Since it's been a right-wing court, they've done a lot of damage. The answer is not to throw the baby out with the bathwater and take away the option of judicial review from the Supreme Court. The answer is to get a liberal Supreme Court that makes sense and actually interprets the law in a rational way. So It's not wrong for the Supreme Court to say, hey, what you're doing here is unconstitutional. It's just we've had a shitty court for a long time, and we need to change that. All right, next. Dan Plone. Where did you get your start, and how did you know this is what you wanted to do? Okay, I could go on forever on this, but I'll try to make it short. In 2008, I started the SecularTalk YouTube channel. I just made some political videos every now and then because I'm interested in politics. Somebody reached out to me at the time. What the fuck was the name of the site? I'm forgetting, but if I remember, I will put it in writing at the bottom of the screen when this hits YouTube. And the idea behind the site was you rank the spin of different segments and articles. So you can vote, oh, this is spun in a Republican direction, this is spun in a Democratic direction. And the guy hired 3 hosts, I believe, 1 Republican, 1 Democrat, or 1 conservative, 1 liberal, 1 libertarian. I was the liberal host that he hired. I would get paid $50 to do these segments on whatever I want to do the segments on. They'd post them on the site, and then it'd be people would vote up, down, or whatever. The guy, he kind of did it as a hobby, so it was like, never really got off the ground. Eventually the site went under, and he shut the whole operation down. But I went from doing a YouTube channel for a little bit, just doing videos every now and then, to somebody reaching out to me saying, I'll pay you $50 per video if we could put it on this site. And from then I was kind of hooked. So 2008, we just did segments every now and then. In 2010, after this site had shut down, I decided I want to do the Blog Talk Radio show, which is just a live show with shitty audio, but, wanted to do that because I wanted to consolidate material and not just do little clips. And then at some point, the live show and the YouTube channel kind of linked up, and they just became Secular Talk and the Kyle Kulinski Show. And then, I've spoken how when I graduated college in 2010, I went and worked at a car dealership for about a year and a half, left there, and then when I left there, I said, fuck it, I'm going to see if I can make this a living, and I could do this and make money off it. I only did it for maybe a few months, and then TYT was expanding. They reached out to me, offered a contract for me to become part of the network. I became part of the network as an affiliate, so I have total and utter control of everything I say and do, but I'm under the umbrella of their network, and then it just fucking took off. And now this is what I do. So I got my start just from doing YouTube, and then briefly getting paid a little bit for this one site where, they pay $50 per video, and then now it's blossomed into this thing where we literally beat some of the biggest names in news. I mean, we are ranked online. We're ranked number 5 in all news and politics. Think about that. On the entire internet, Secular Talk is number 5 in news and politics. I mean, that's ridiculous. We're right behind the White House. That makes absolutely no sense. I mean, it's ridiculous. But, hey, you set this thing up, you build it, and they will come. If you send out a good product, everybody knows I care deeply about the facts and the information and the data, and then I give my opinion. It just happened to blossom into something that's great, and it's bigger than I could have ever imagined, and I never want to stop. I'll keep doing this until I fucking croak and die, and believe you me, I have no interest. Like, some people get into this, and I've spoken to some behind the scenes where it's like, what's your move? Where you want to end up? Where's the end goal? TV? Is that where you want? TV? No. Like, I don't even understand those conversations. I'm like, what? Why would I want to go somewhere where I have a boss and there are rules and it's annoying and I got to deal with a whole bunch of people I don't want to deal with when I could just do it here myself on YouTube, have no bosses, do it exactly my way, and still do okay? To me, it's a no-brainer, but everybody else still has that mindset. Got to climb that ladder, got to get to the next place, got to go on TV, got to do this, got to do that. I'm good, dog. I'm good right here. All right, next question. Jake Tupper, not to be confused with Jake Tapper. We often criticize the mainstream media. If you were in charge of a mainstream media outlet like CNN or MSNBC, how would you run the network? Very simple. I do exactly what I'm doing right now for my show. Facts, news, information, data, and opinion after that. Okay? And that's why they'd never hire me. They'd never hire me because the shit I say directly threatens their bottom line because corporate sponsors might flee when I say, hey, your corporate sponsors are pieces of shit. So, there is a conflict of interest there. Now, on YouTube, we do have advertisements, but the way YouTube does it is actually brilliant because they have this massive buffer. So I literally have never had any conversation ever with a single sponsor on Secular Talk, ever. So they do it where YouTube deals with it and Google deals with it, and they set it up and they run the ads, and I literally never see any of them, never talk to any of them. There is by no stretch of the imagination a conflict of interest. The way it works for corporate media is that's not the case. If you say something they don't like on air, their corporate donors, they'll fucking call and say, X-nay on that shit. And like, for example, Cenk, when he was on MSNBC, he attacked the Democratic Party too much. This wasn't a sponsor issue, but Democrats in Washington said, little too aggressive, and then eventually MSNBC tried to lower his role, put him on the weekends, and he said, look, if this is like the hush money you pay me to go and be more quiet on the weekends, I'll just leave. So, I mean, that's the answer, is if I was in charge of CNN or MSNBC, I would make it like what I do, and the ratings would be fantastic, but all the advertisers would flee, which is why they would never, ever, ever do it. Because it's not even about ratings as the number one thing, because again, I could make it so their ratings are number one, but they wouldn't do it because they lose the sponsor money, and the sponsor money is more important than even the ratings.